Hey, it's Star11 with episode 2 of my series going over hypothetical ways to buff the less good blades in Xenoblade 2. So this week will be Mega Lances. Last week was Shield Hammers, which are absolutely horrible and need major fixes. Mega Lances, on the other hand, they're not bad. They're just very outclassed by other DPS weapon types. So first thing is the blades themselves. For the Mega Lances, the blades themselves aren't too bad. Wolfric doesn't really need anything changed. Wolfric is fine. The others can have some buffs done to them, but the main things that I would do for Mega Lances is go into their niche of the fast, low damage per hit, but high hit count weapon type. Make every single Lance special 5 hit count at minimum. And the ones that are already at 5 or higher, increase their hit counts a bit. So that's the main thing I would do, is just increase their hit counts, so that would fill the niche of the weapon class better, of being fast, high hit counts. And of course, anything that's not already fast, make it faster specials. Make them just really fast specials, high hit counts, low damage per hit count, with the ratios really spread out over those high hit counts. So Wolfric, he's fine, wouldn't do anything to change him. Veil. So Veil's niche is being the Ether Lance, except Lance is a physical weapon class, and there's really nothing to take advantage of her Ether. So things I would do is lean into her Ether niche, reduce her physical defense by, I guess 5% physical defense is fine, but increase Ether defense to 15% at least. Give her 15 or 20% Ether defense. She's really good with having 3 slots already, so her main thing is just having a niche that isn't fulfilled. This could be better, but it's situational, so it's alright. Actually, with the changes I would make to her, then I would make this high HP instead. Make this a increases damage at high HP. This is utterly worthless. I would replace this with a party heal. If she's going to be Ether, she should be a bit more focused on healing as a way to take advantage of that. Since she's not going to be doing huge DPS, just make her an all-around Ether Blade. And the main thing that I'll be doing to fulfill her niche as an Ether Blade is to put her on Nia, make Nia work better for Lances. And easy way to do that, to fit them together well, is just make this a party heal, which would be pretty useful when using her as DPS. This one's fine. This is really good already, so that's fine. That's fine. And, I mean, this is niche. It works on Morag because she has a Lance Smash art, but I would change this to Topple, increase the damage to Topple, or do what Wolfric has. Wolfric is the perfect example of these launch skills. Just make it affect both launch and Topple. To balance it out a bit, with Wolfric supposed to being the really good Lance, just reduce this to 100%, I guess. Reduce it to 100% damage increase to launch and toppled enemies. Praxis. Praxis is already really good. This is the only thing I'd really change on her, is increase this to 100% instead of just 60%. That's pretty low. That's good, that's good, that's good, really good. This one could be a lot better. I'm not sure what to replace it with, so I would just buff this to at least 60%. I mean, if you're trying to reduce aggro, just make it so that you're taking away almost all the aggro. Why make it just 40%? Lastly, Perun. So Perun's niche is being the auto-attack focused Lance, except she utterly fails at that because her auto-attack damage is too weak, as is any auto-attack focused build. So I would lean into that and make her work for auto-attacks better. this is pretty useless. I would, again, increase this to 60%, if not replacing it entirely with something more useful. This is really bad. This is totally useless. You will never get this in any situation. This, on the other hand, is situationally useful. So why aren't they both like this, where it's if ally has low HP or is incapacitated? So just make this incapacitated or at low HP. If any ally is at 30% HP or lower, then you get this bonus, instead of only when they're incapacitated. There's just no reason for that. It's worthless. So yeah, having these, just copy this effect onto this one and have it apply to both things instead of only incapacitated. Also with this, instead of just taking 40% less damage for you, have it affect the whole party. Whole party takes 40% less damage if an ally is at 30% HP or lower, including 0 HP. That would be a huge buff to her and make her much more useful in the niche of protecting low HP party members. This is totally useless. There is just no way for this to ever matter because auto attack damage is so low. I'll get into what I would replace this with in a second. But this one, I mean, it could be good if it was stronger. If you wanted to fill her niche of auto attack based, then just increase this to 200% at the least, if not 250% auto attack damage increase. Then this, what I'd be replacing this with, to lean even more into auto attack basis, is auto attacks fill special recharge. Instead of only needing to use arts to charge your specials, Peru can charge her specials with auto attacks so that you never have to use arts. You can just keep auto attacking and fill your specials. That would be a massive increase to her niche and usability. And with that combined with making this apply to the whole party, well, the damage reduction applies to the whole party, that would make her much, much more usable. Also, she's got just one slot along with Praxis, so her and Praxis increased to 2 slots. Now the last thing is on arts. So everyone but Morag has pretty low damage ratios for their arts for lances. So I'd be increasing that. Increase this one to 380. This one's fine, but the effect could be better. I think if you're going to make an effect like this, just make it 100% instead of 50%. So increase damage to insects by 100%. Increase this damage ratio to at least 300. And, I mean, this is worthless anyway, so don't need to buff that. Zeke, I'm not going to bother doing anything with him because he's pretty slow with lances, so he has no point using them anyway. Make lances for the other 3. Nia is the biggest change I'd make. As you see here, she's got one ether-based art for lances, and it has the worst effect. So I just make these all ether. Every single one of these, ether. I'm not sure what the final ratios are on them because I've never upgraded her arts for lances since there's no reason to use lances on her. But I think the ratios are okay provided you made them all ether. That way she could work well with having Veil as the somewhat bulky on the ether side, all-around blade for lances. So have Veil being more ether defense, have a healing special, and then Nia gets ether-based arts for all lance arts. And then you're good with having Veil be usable, while also making Nia actually able to use lances. At the very least, make 2 of these ether-based. Let's say this one and this one, make them ether-based. You can leave this one as being physical, I guess, and you can just replace it with this one. Though, making them all ether and making this one physical instead would be the best because you're not using this anyway. So yeah, make this one physical and all three of these ether. So yeah, that's it for how I would be buffing the Lance Blades. I think I went over everything that I could think of for how to buff them. So Lances aren't bad, they're just very outclassed by other DPS. So the main things would be ways to make them fill a niche better instead of just making them higher DPS in general. So next time, I think I'll be going over Ring Blades. Also, going to briefly mention, I won't be doing an episode on axes, because axes, all the axe blades are already great. There's nothing to do to buff them. So no episode on axes, and I think I'll do Ring Blades next week, or 2 weeks from now, because next week I've got an Animal Crossing video coming up. So in the next episode, 2 weeks from now, will be on rings, how I would buff Ring Blades. And you're probably wondering, but Drillmark is the only Ring Blade, and I'll be going over that. So, see you next time.